What is the best time of day to actually trade the financial markets? Some people say it's London, some people say it's New York, and some people try and trade Asia session. But we all know Asia traders get absolutely wrecked. So what actually is the best time of day to actually trade if you want to have the highest win rate and make the most money? If you don't know me, my name is Kieran Davis, and I've been a full-time trader now for the last 6 years. And what I'm going to share with you today is the exact strategies that I use for the best and highest probable trading session. Now, if you don't want to trade my trading session, that's fine. I'm also going to teach you the session intentions so that you can adapt these timings to your lifestyle and find what suits you best. With no further ado, let's get right into the video. So we all should know there's different trading sessions. And of course, the foreign exchange markets are open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. Cryptocurrencies, of course, being 24/7. I'd firstly recommend coming to this website, forextimezoneconverter.com, and you can see all the different foreign exchange sessions and most market sessions because there's different trading sessions throughout this 24-hour period. And just come to your time zone and change this to your correct time zone. So your first session at the start of the day is typically going to be Asia session at the bottom, where you've got your Sydney session and Tokyo session. And this session does have a specific intention. And again, we're going to go through chart examples with a real life case study. Asia session will typically consolidate and generate liquidity. It's a lower volume economies compared to the US and Europe. So for me, I like to stay away from these sessions. Now, can you trade these if you really want to? Well, you can do anything if you really want to. Can you jump off a bridge? Yeah, you can. Should you do it? Nah. But the reason why I don't trade Asia sessions is for two main reasons. Number one, through market data. And I understand the true intention of Asia session, which is to generate liquidity, which again, we'll go through in a minute. And you'll find that the high and lows of Asia session typically get manipulated more often than not. And secondly, when I just checked my data, I found that I would lose so many more trades in Asia session, and it just wasn't economically viable for me to trade that session. Like, if I'm reviewing my data and I realize that most of my winners happen at a certain time of day, why am I going to keep trading a session where they don't occur? It doesn't make sense. Now you've got your Frankfurt session. Frankfurt session will typically come in and manipulate this Asia range. London session will typically give you the higher low of the day, and then New York session will typically give you continuations of the overall move. So let's kind of put that together in a whiteboard before we go to the real markets. In a textbook scenario, this is how you want to see these sessions come together, where you see Asia session create some liquidity. Again, Asia, lower volume economy, less volume that's being traded in the markets. And what you'll find is that Frankfurt session in London will typically come in and print that high or low of the day, depending on the bias. Of course, if you're buying, it will typically manipulate your Asia lows before breaking to the upside. And then New York session will typically come in to give you an entry or a continuation of the overall move. And of course, if you're selling, it's literally just the opposite, where you'll see London come in, manipulate the highs before breaking to the downside. And then, of course, New York coming in to give you that continuation. Now, of course, anyone can draw lines, right? Let's look at real examples. So again, in a typical scenario, of course, don't just blindly use this one concept. You obviously have to use it in confluence with other trading tools. Like, again, so many people, they just use one thing and are like, oh my God, because of this blue box, I'm going to buy. Bro, chill out. Build confluence. We're professionals. We build cases. We're not just crackheads who jump in trades because we heard one thing on YouTube. Add confluence with your strategy. Make sure you've got a higher time frame point of interest to the left. Right? We've got our POI to the left. And then we're coming in with that POI and giving our lower time frame confirmation. And again, what confirmations do we use? We use Wyckoff. And again, I've got a whole Wyckoff bootcamp all on my channel completely for free. But all we do is find an accumulation or reaccumulation to the left, wait for the market to come back to this zone, zoom into a lower time frame and apply this time and price theory. So again, we can see Asia coming in, building liquidity. And of course, we're bullish because we've got a point of interest to the left and the fundamental reasons. Right? Again, don't be trying to trade without a fundamental reason. Oh, Kieran, I want to buy. Why? Because of some lines. Bro, you really think technicals move the market? We look at fundamentals to tell us the direction and where the market's going to go. And then we use technicals to time our entries and tell us when to actually enter. So again, we've got that Asia consolidation. We know we're bullish. So we want to see that London print the low of the day, manipulate the Asia lows before breaking to the upside. And then we want to see New York session for our continuation and our ideal trading window, our golden trading hour, what we call this blue box, which I'll get into in a minute, comes in to give us our entry. And if we just let the market play forward, because we've done our higher time frame analysis and alignment with fundamentals, which I have done a whole case study on this trade. If you click the video in the description, based on COT reports, I went all over the fundamentals in detail. And again, using this concept, we end up getting not only the low of the day, but of course, applying the higher time frame confluences, we caught an absolute banger of a trade. Now, of course, we just spoke about a different session intention. Now I want to share with you my personal favorite trading window. Now, this trading window for me is one of my highest profitable trading times. And this is called the New York Stock Exchange Open between 2:30 UK time and 5:30 PM UK time. And this for me is a golden window for scalps. In this blue box, if I can see my trading plan present itself, where I've got a schematic, I've got a point of interest in this example, I've got a reaccumulation that is formed inside of this blue box alongside coming in, and given a lower time frame entry confirmation, I will happily take these scalps all day long. So with this blue box, I'm very happy to be a bit more aggressive and take lower time frame day trades / scalps. Now, of course, if you don't know our trading plan by now, you should be very familiar with how we trade. But of course, if you're new, go and watch our Wyckoff bootcamp. We go all over in detail on this. But what we're doing is we're identifying our price cycle. In this case, we can see we've got our Wyckoff reaccumulation to the left. And how do we know that's a reaccumulation? Because we can see we're in an uptrend and we're getting those manipulations of the lows followed by the break to the upside. But the key is that this was formed inside of our blue box, inside of this high volume trading window. The reason why I love this blue box is because it is the highest volume trading session. You've got all of the financial sessions open. You've got your London session open, your New York session open, your Frankfurt session open, and the New York Stock Exchange open. Of course, Asia's not open, but we don't care about the Asia trading sessions. So when I come in and I fib up this reaccumulation, I'm not just going to blindly enter on it. I mean, you can if you really want, but I like to wait for my lower time frame confirmations to refine my risk to reward, get a higher win rate, and of course, a better risk to reward. So instead of just blindly entering, I'm going to jump down to a lower time frame. Right? And the key is that my point of interest was formed in the blue box. For me, I'm still happy to trade indices up until 9 PM UK time, which is the end of New York close. But after this blue box, if I'm not in my point of interest, I'm really starting to doubt the credibility of this setup. But the main thing is that the point of interest is formed in the blue box for these scalps. So again, she comes in, gives our lower time frame accumulation, sign of strength, comes in, gives our entry. And then from there, we can see she absolutely rockets towards our fib extension target at a beautiful 1-to-12 risk to reward ratio. Now, of course, I don't just hold the whole volume for one target. I will partial as I go higher. So typically for me, for these scalps, I will take a small volume off at my devil's advocate position, which is just this minor supply, then this high over here, and then my fib extension. So even if it doesn't hit my final target, I ain't going to be upset because I still made money and still manage my risk. But of course, in this example, of course, she goes and hits those targets and beyond. But again, don't just think because it's this magical blue box, you're going to win all your trades. It's all about the context, the confluence, and if you can build a narrative and a case behind the trade idea. If you can, and you find your entry is coming in this blue box, you're going to have a massive, massive, massive success. But again, don't just listen to me. Go and backtest it on the charts. Go and look at how many times Asia session gets manipulated. Go and look at how many times we get that continuation during New York. And during that blue box, the hours of New York Stock Exchange open to London close, how many times we get those lower time frame confirmations. And again, I'll show you another example. This model may not happen every single day, but we don't need a trade every day. As long as we get a few of these a week, a few of these a month, we're absolutely fine. Remember, trading is not a game of effort. It's a game of leverage. When you start moving on to the higher account sizes, you don't need trades every day. This isn't a 9-to-5 where the more you do, the more you get paid. The more capital you trade on, the less trades you need to take to make a substantial return. Real professional traders, when we're trading on these larger account sizes, a 2, 3, 4% a month is absolutely fantastic. But of course, if you're sitting there on $1,000 account making 2%, even 10%, you're like, oh, I just made $100 in a whole month. Like, you're not going to be really satisfied with those profits. But compared to now, let's say you're trading on a multiple 6-figure account, multiple 7-figure account, and you've just made 2%. You just made 10, 20, 30, 50K, you're going to be very satisfied with that. So sometimes the reason why a lot of you are struggling I mean, there's a lot of reasons which we've got a load of videos on, but sometimes it's just the capital you're trading on. And because it's too little, it makes it harder for you to be satisfied with your profit. If we look at another example, we can see the exact same model play out where we've got a point of interest to the left, right? We got our reaccumulation, those manipulations of lows, followed by the break to the upside. Followed by that, we see the market return back to this POI in the future. So we can dive down into a lower time frame to see our lower time frame entry criteria. And of course, we get that lower time frame accumulation. We put on that indicator and we can see, what do we get inside our accumulation? We get the Asia liquidity. We get the London sweep, followed by the sign of strength. And again, what's London doing? Sweep in Asia, giving the higher low of the day. And then New York session, our blue box, can you guess what she does? Of course, we got to put our fibs on first to get our entry. Put a limit order on the 80%. Stop loss below the low. Zoom out. Higher time frame targets. Now we just let the market do the rest of the heavy lifting inside of this blue box and New York continuation. And now all we got to do is wait. Bang, she comes in, fills us in our entry inside that key window before starting to move towards our targets. So again, don't expect this to play out every single day. Every day is not a trading day. We only want to trade when we see our model play out. And if that means we don't take a trade every day, that's absolutely fine, because trading is a game of leverage, not a game of effort. Quick warning, if you do use this and you don't find instant success, it's probably because of two reasons. It's number one, you're probably not applying it correctly. And if you're not a profitable trader yourself, how do you even know you've been applying it correctly? You see, that was me back in 2017, 2018. I remember I was learning all these concepts, I was learning all these strategies, and I was wondering, why is it not working for me? Why is it that no matter how hard I work, no matter what strategy I'm learning, I still cannot succeed? Day after day, week after week, I'm losing, I'm failing challenges, I'm blowing accounts. And it was simply because I wasn't getting my work validated by someone who knew what they was doing. I was someone who wasn't profitable. So I was coming in trying to teach myself how to trade, trying to tell myself, oh, these markups are correct because I'm doing it. But wait a minute, how do I know if I haven't done it? So that was when I met my first mentor. I sent them my charts on a daily basis to the point where like if they wouldn't even pick up or reply to me, I would be calling them until they did. I would demand answers because I was hungry for my success. And then by getting that feedback and that real application and that mentorship, that's what allowed me to identify the mistakes I was making and actually start correctly trading the right zones. And obviously since then, we've now been a full-time trader traveling around the world for the last 6 years. So if you want to be able to do the same thing and get that live feedback, you've got two things to do. One, you can join my live trading community where we network and trade live with not just myself. We've got other 6 and 7 figure traders who are using this strategy and trading full time that can give you feedback, and other traders in our community who may be where you are and can help you on your journey. Or of course, you can apply for the Mastercoin one-to-one mentorship, which again, spaces are very, very limited. They only work with a handful of students because truth be told, a lot of you won't really take it seriously. So if I am going to work with you on a one-to-one basis, I want to make sure that I am going to actually get you results and you're not going to waste my time. And of course, I'm not going to waste your time. So with that being said, if you do want to apply for the live trading community or the Mastercoin mentorship, simply go down to the description, apply down below. But with that being said, if you did get value, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you lot at the top, from the top, because you already know that bottom is way too crowded. Sheesh. But wait, before we do, don't forget to don't forget to subscribe, because we got so many more bangers coming. And if you are still struggling in the markets and for whatever reason feel like nothing seems to work, and you keep finding yourself failing challenges, losing trade after trade, and just don't understand why you're failing and you're serious about actually succeeding, don't forget to go to the description and apply for the Master of Coin mentorship, where we have a group live trading community where we live trade 3 times a week, or also have options for one-to-one support. But anyway, let's get right into the video.